Hello, fellow marketers. I'm Brian Bowie, and welcome to another episode of Directive R&D. I'm joined by a returning lab partner, Max Serrato. Max, welcome to the show.
How's it going, Brian?
Doing good. Max is one of our associate directors of paid media at Directive, and we can't wait to talk about one of our favorite topics, software review sites, directories, third-party review sites, a lot of different names for them, but it's one of an early strategy that we pitch to a lot of our clients looking to expand their reach at the bottom of the funnel when people are looking for their solution. We have a little deck prepared, so I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to dive in. You see my screen all right?
Yes.
Sweet. I'm going to open it up. Loving the jacket, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Not quite a lab coat, but it'll do.
Nice. So software directories. You see them everywhere if you're in the software space, most likely. And why are we talking about it today? So if you insert top anything software into your favorite search engine, not just top, it could be best, it could be a list of, whatever you do, and you tell me what you see, you'll probably see third-party review sites. So we have an example here. You still see my screen all right, Max?
Yep.
Here's an example of top ERP software. And this is a great example of seeing some software directories that we're gonna go over, but here's a directory: Capterra, Technology Advice, Select Hub, Software Advice, G2, Capterra again. Capterra even is in paid in Google Ads here, so that's crazy. Let me put in another example. So best HR software. What else do you see? Software, select software reviews, PC Mag, Capterra again, Technology Advice, Software Advice. So with search marketing, you'll start to notice that with these high intent searches, not as many individual websites are ranking as much, and more of these directories are showing up. So it's been like this for a while, but that's basically the main reason why we recommend it to a lot of our B2B software clients or software clients in general, is to make sure that you're discoverable when potential buyers are looking for you, and you make a strong impression when you're evaluated against competitors. So those are two core reasons. Max, are there any other reasons why we kind of pitch review sites and to optimize within review sites to our clients?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, right? If people are looking for, a list or a way to compare different solutions, this is the best user experience. And that's why Google is serving these up so high organically. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a transition over the years where these different review sites rank high for very high intent searches with a lot of volume. And if you're not early enough in making sure you have a strong position in there, you could be falling behind and being less discoverable than your competitors. And like you mentioned, as a buyer, when you're evaluating top solutions or top vendors, you're going to want third-party validation and not just looking at different websites. You want to see what actual customers are saying about that product, unbiased reviews, the good ones, the bad ones. Users love them when they're making purchasing decisions. So you have to be there. You have to get good reviews. And there's different ways you can do that. But yeah, like I mentioned, they're everywhere. It's where buyers are going to evaluate potentially you as a potential solution for them. And there's a lot of them. And we've wanted to start off with 4 of the top ones that we're seeing, but like I just did the search, they can vary based on your vertical. So put in top accounting software, top cybersecurity software, top whatever software, and see which listings are showing up. But here are some of the most common ones that have authority and a lot of reviews. So I'm gonna start with Capterra and pass it off to you, Max. Why do we pitch Capterra to a lot of our clients looking to gain more market share on these directories?
Yeah, Capterra there's such a low barrier to entry in Capterra. They operate on a pay-per-click model. You can set a monthly budget. So it's easy, even if you don't have like a lot of ad spend,
Mhm.
you can still be here for like a certain amount of spend in a high or low position, right? And it as I mentioned, it is PPC model, so you can bid, up to that first position where you're going to get a whole bunch of traffic, but it's definitely going to be more expensive. Or if you just want to make sure to show up, that's an option too. We also like Capterra. We often use the keywords that Capterra ranks for organically.
Mhm.
So for this is like cybersecurity software, we'll take this Capterra page and then we'll put it through a program like SEMrush, and we'll understand like what this specific listing ranks for organically, and then we'll target those on the paid side too. So that when someone's searching for top cybersecurity software, our brain will have a paid ad there. And then there's also, like, I think the keyword that you mentioned in the last slide was like unbiased, right? So everyone could claim that they're the best, but when that user is looking for more unbiased validation, they're going to go to Capterra, and then they will see us there as well. So they really can't miss us.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And like we showed just before, Capterra is even bidding in PPC. So say if you wanted to show up in the 4-pack with your own ad, you could be in Capterra and have visibility there, and then have visibility below those 4-pack, below the fold on the search engine for other directories as well. And you're going to gain a lot of market share and discoverability for those bottom funnel intent searches. Capterra, owned by Gartner, has been around for a while, so a lot of people are familiar with them and trust that site. They have cool filters when you can kind of see right here with pricing options, deployment, users, to help users like filter down for exactly what they're looking for. So overall, solid and widely used software directory that we'd recommend looking into.
Yeah, and I want to throw out there too that you can get a free listing within Capterra. It's not just pay to play. Obviously, if you have a free listing, you're going to kind of get buried below. Because all the paid ones are gonna show up first, but you still can be here even if your ad budget doesn't allow for it.
Yeah, easy way to notice, it's this orange button.
Exactly.
And the all the blue buttons below are free, and the only way to rank higher for the free positioning is having the highest number of reviews and average ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then another thing we like to do is we like to control the landing page. We build landing pages specifically for users that are visiting these pages. So when if you're planning to opt into a Capterra, one thing you should do is just click on everybody's site, all your competitors, make them pay for that click, but also analyze what they're putting on their landing page and make sure your offer is better to make it work. So that's just one recommendation, to create a very specific landing page, knowing the type of intent of the users you're bringing in, and then serving something that will resonate and will help them convert. So.
Yeah. And the only way to get that controlled landing page experience too is on the paid end. So you do have to be opted into PPC in order to get that orange visit website button to take them to a landing page. Otherwise, it just kind of shows, for the free listing, it just goes to their Capterra page within Capterra. It doesn't take them to your website for lead generation purposes. And then another quick thing too is on the landing pages, Capterra does have a service if you are opted into paid, where you fill out like a survey, put in your product information, and they will actually build a landing page for you, free of charge, based off of their like best practices and what they see work. So it's something to leverage too if you're in this directory for paid. And then they will also, it is a reviews platform, right? Third-party reviews. So if you join this and you're in paid and you bid up to the very top and it's a brand new profile and you don't have any reviews, chances are you're not going to do very well. Capterra will run a reviews program for you on their behalf, free of charge. They'll send out like an email to a customer list that you give them, right? So you can specifically filter your list to be like good customers, ones that are going to give you a good score. Send it to Capterra. Capterra will send out an email, and they will actually incentivize users to leave a review on Capterra. because it helps them too. So
yeah, that makes sense. So we're pitching Capterra a lot. Let's jump to the next one. All right, TrustRadius. This is one of your favorites, Max. So tell me a little bit about TrustRadius and some of the advantages of opting into their paid plans.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that we pitched TrustRadius in the times that we have is they were able to give us like analytics on the types of people that were visiting their site, and we found that it was more enterprise users, and that was more aligned with our ICP. So that was one of the big selling points. And then I think the other really big one was the intent data. So what we were able to do was we supplied TrustRadius with our Google Ads pixel, our Facebook pixel, our LinkedIn pixel. I think they do Twitter. I can't remember, but we give them those pixels, and then they place those ad pixels. There's two levels, right? They can do it on your product page, and then they can do it on the category as a whole. And that is very cool because, you know, if you're running a campaign on Google Ads, you can build audiences of people specifically looking in your software category, whether or not they've even been to your website or even your page on TrustRadius, if you're doing that overall category. So it's a good way to understand what buyers are in market. And something else really cool that we did too, right, was because it's on the overall category page, we were able to specifically hone in on specific competitors for, right? So for this, like say the URL slug is trustradius.com/HR software/competitor name.
Yep.
Target that specific URL, build an audience specifically around people we know are evaluating competitors, and then market to them with very specific messaging, reviews, comparison reports, and really create a really good competitive strategy there.
I love that. Yeah. Like it seems so simple at the beginning, but the use cases are very powerful. I think one of the advantages that we're seeing with TrustRadius too is they do have a lot of market share. They do get a lot of traffic for some of these popular categories. So it's worth remarketing to these users that might not have discovered you. And like you mentioned before, you know, that competitor strategy where you know that they're evaluating Bamboo HR, for example, and then you create a comparison page against Bamboo HR and yourself, and you can put yourself in even greater light. All really a great strategy to convert more users that are relevant. They also offer review campaigns to support you if you need more reviews and ratings, higher ratings, and you can work with their reps that are super helpful over there. And content as well. They help you can curate content based on the reviews you have to use within landing pages and to use in other places. I also forgot to mention one of their UVPs is the reviews widget and the testimonials. You can like embed the TrustRadius reviews that you have for your own profile onto a landing page of your choosing, and that they've seen improvements in conversion rates. And it's dynamic. It consistently updates based on new reviews that you get on your profile. But yeah, we've seen, Max, have you seen good results with using the remarketing pixel?
Yes. In our use case, it did work very well, but it is very dependent on the category you're in. Right? We were lucky enough to be in one of those categories that got tons of traffic. So we were really quick to build up those remarketing lists and see value very quickly. If it is within a category that, you know, is a little more niche or doesn't get as much traffic, it's going to take you a little bit longer to build up that audience and hit that threshold to where you are eligible to start sending out ads.
Sweet. Cool. So when you do your search, if TrustRadius shows up, I highly recommend you check them out and see where you're positioned and see what options you'd like to move forward with, but highly recommended. Software advice. I can kind of speak to this a little bit more because it's not going to be as applicable for everybody. It really depends on your category, but they do have other options besides just a cost per lead model. So software advice is owned by Gartner. Gartner owns Capterra, Software Advice, and GetApp. So those three kind of like run in unison with their cost CPC programs or PPC programs. But sometimes Software Advice offers a cost per lead program where there's an added step, but you're paying for a lead, not paying for a click. So say a prospect comes into this human resources software section and wants to connect with an advisor. They will talk to a Software Advice advisor, and you would give them the criteria for what you're looking for. You're looking for 10 seats. You're looking to spend no more than 50 grand. You're looking to start in 3 weeks. And all that criteria is matched up to people who are opted into this listing. So it could be Zenefits, iSolve, Clear Company. When as a vendor, you partner with Software Advice to give them your criteria. You say you only want leads that are from this region, or only above the certain budget, or above a certain employee size. So unlike Capterra and some other listings, you have more control over the firmographics and demographics of what leads you buy. So the volume might be less, but the qualification we've seen to be very high and high return. And in some cases with a lot of our clients, they want to spend more in Software Advice as much as possible, but because of that extra qualification, the volume is somewhat low. But again, highly recommended. If Software Advice shows up in your searches for your category, having those reps pre-qualify leads, oftentimes you're getting really hot bottom funnel leads. And the ability to filter out leads is a unique value prop that not a lot of the other platforms can offer. Did I miss anything there, Max? I kind of took over that one.
No, yeah, you're very familiar with Software Advice, so by all means. Yeah, the only thing I would say too is the categories are different from Software Advice, CPC, PPC versus PPL. Mm-hmm. So just because you're opted into Software Advice's PPC program does not mean that same category is available in PPL. Mm-hmm. So definitely connect with someone on the Software Advice team. They can run through which categories are eligible. They will often send you, within your specific category, the list of criteria that you can choose from. So you can take that back, fill it out, give it back to them. They will actually give you an estimated leads per month. It's low volume, but very high quality hot leads.
That makes sense. Yeah. And I think the theme with all of these are very helpful reps that it's mutually beneficial for both parties. So ask for estimates, ask for lead estimates, traffic estimates, and they have a lot of different pricing models, so they can be flexible. But so far, I've seen most of the reps be very helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Last one is G2. They rank for a lot of terms within this within the software space. They've kind of prided themselves as being even more unbiased because they have different paid models. Like Capterra, where you can kind of pay for your position. G2 doesn't have that, and they kind of leverage that as a value prop where it is even more unbiased because it's ranking just by review count and ratings more so. But there are some paid options. Max, can you tell me a little bit more about some of G2's options here?
Yeah. So G2 is one of those companies where it's going to require like an overall annual contract, so a little bit of a heavier investment up front. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they do have some really interesting things. It's definitely not as like lead gen focused as something like Capterra, right? Where people are looking to get a demo right then and there. It's more around like education, reviews, content. Mm-hmm. Some of the packages will include the ability to leverage some of that content. Right, G2 has a lot of great, comparison stuff too. They have that, not the quadrant, it's like the grid, that shows where, your company is compared to others on that chart. So the ability to license that, use that as social proof. And then they also have intent data too available, similar to TrustRadius, but different. Mm-hmm. The way it's different is, where TrustRadius, you do have that direct integration by putting your ads pixel on it to immediately start, remarketing to them on your different ad platforms. G2 will, send you, you can see companies that are like looking at your profile or searching within the categories.
Yeah.
So not a specific user, but specific companies, right? So you can, as an advertiser, you can use that data to, potentially build like a company list and then upload it into LinkedIn, and then, start sending messages, or not messages, but advertisements to those people that are, kind of doing their research. And then on the sales side too, it's just ammunition for the sales team to understand, which companies are, doing heavier research, which companies are maybe just discovering you. Yeah, cool little functionality there. I will say, ask G2 for like an example list. They will give you, if you bug them, they will give you an example of the data that you would be receiving, right, to understand the quality. Because you always want to make sure, right, that because if you're in a broad category, sometimes some of these companies that are looking for you won't necessarily be good fits. So I'll always make sure to ask for an example of the data, and you can kind of get an understanding of the type of traffic and data that you're purchasing.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah, and I could see that list being usable for outbound, to see within your existing pipeline, who's starting to look at these reviews and stuff like that. Strong indicators for your team to act on. So, but it depends, right? You should ask to screen through those.
Yeah, for sure. Because I want to say one of the examples we did, like our own company was listed on there because we're in these directories so much doing our own research.
Right.
Popping up, right? And I don't think the sales team wants to reach out to us, but yeah, always good to check and vet through the data beforehand.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sweet. So those were probably the main four that come up a lot. They have a lot of market share for these different directory searches, between Capterra, TrustRadius, Software Advice, and G2. But there's up and coming ones all the time, and in more niche ones, there's Select Hub, other ones that we'll dive into. So here are some other notable SaaS directories or review sites that, again, go back to the fundamental reason behind why people go to them, and it's to get unbiased third-party opinions from real customers to know which products excel in one area and then maybe fall short in others. But we see Trustpilot, Finances Online. We know that they have a PPC program. Gartner Peer Insights, you'll see often that is mainly just pure reviews from user-generated. Technology Advice, IT Central Station, they have some paid partnerships for content, as well as cost per lead or pay per lead. So a lot of these different listings will have different paid options. You just have to reach out, and the bottom line is kind of knowing that users are going to these to evaluate the best vendors, and you want to be there and you want to make a strong impression. If you have a 1-star review and only one review, and they're in all three listings, it shows you the same, it's probably not going to go so well when they're evaluating using social proof. Any others I'm missing, Max?
No, I think you tied that up nicely with a little bow.
Nice. One other tip, because in some categories, maybe there are not any listings, but maybe they are, I'm going to just exit out of here. Maybe they are articles, like this Quick Sprout article, or this PC Mag, or Neil Patel. In those instances, I'm going to stop sharing here. Get a contact, reach out anyways. Get on those listicles, articles, see what it takes. It might be a paid promotion or partnership. Maybe they just haven't heard of you and want to evaluate your product. So we always kind of do an early search where we're just like scanning all the bottom funnel intent searches to see all the different opportunities you can be in to capture as much market share and discoverability as possible. And it's really worth it. So yeah, that was a long one today, so I'm gonna cut it right now. But Max, thank you so much for jumping on today and talking about directories. And see everybody in the next one, and hope to see Max again in the next lab. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.